motivational, name it. What are you looking for? We will get it here. I know our speakers are ready. And if you've seen their name or you've heard about them, you will know that they are powerful, powerful speakers, and they are ready for us tonight already. Yes, Josephine from Lasgidi, my Lasgidi people, one love. Nkechi from Lagos, you're welcome. Stephen from Abuja, Alex from Canada. Wow, Adenike from Lagos. You are all welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I think it's time I introduce myself. My name is Bunmi Okesola, and I will be your moderator for tonight. I'm the moderator with a big smile. I'm sure you've noticed that already. And so we'll be cruising together with this beautiful smile, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful time together. Victor from Lagos, you're welcome. Yes, Toyin, I've been looking at your name. Toyin from Abuja, you are welcome. Oh, Nkechi, thank you so much, Nkechi, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Yes, more people will be joining us as well. Start out. So I'll just give a few minutes for us to get settled and for others to join us. And I want us to just relax. I'll be playing a very beautiful song. I particularly love that song. So enjoy the song just for a few minutes so that you get relaxed. You can get your water, you can get your journal, you can get your pen and just get yourself very, very comfortable and ready, because we'll be cruising at a very, very high speed tonight. I hope we are ready. So listen to the song and just relax. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. All right. Oh, what's happening to my song?
Entrepreneur international, but I'm so sleep, Lola they sleep. Chima no grill push up, he say na hangover. Now every day I got a shy. They say see me why you today complain. Tomorrow day, forget it today. You go fairly body like. But tell me time now money. Time now life. Time they run, you sound well. Time is precious. Every second. Time you sound well. My Sherry Fave. Only forever 21. Before she know that she know do the thing when she want to do. Sherry Alagorio. Now so procrastination. They say see me why you today complain. Tomorrow day, forget it today. You go fairly body like. But tell me alright. Time now money. My sherry, Sherifa baby. Only forever 21. Before she know, she know do the thing when she want to do. Sherry alagorio, now so procrastination. They say see me why you today complain. Tomorrow they forget it today. Igba ogo fedi body line, but tell me alright. Time na money, time na life. Time they run, use and well. Time is precious, every second. Time na gift, use and well. Asikola yo, Professor Jaye. Time no go pause, it no go stop. Make it tell it Sarafina, Johnny and Sikirat. Make it tell Philomena. Use and well,
All right. So welcome again, everyone. I can see more people have joined us, and according to the song, time now money. So we cannot afford to be wasting so much time. I believe others will join us as we continue on this beautiful journey together tonight. Welcome to everyone just joining us. We say welcome, a special welcome to you. And if this is your first time just joining us on the Read webinars, we want to say a special welcome to you. Please put it in the chat for us so that the ushers can welcome you specially and give you our special welcome package that we have for you tonight. So welcome everyone. You can still introduce yourself in the chat. As we go on, I see a lot more people in the chat. Wow, 43 people already in the room. Thank you everyone for joining in tonight. And I want to promise you, the future is what we are all looking forward to. We all want a good future. And tonight, I want to promise you that you are going to learn a lot. Yes, Rebecca from Abuja, I see, wow, we have a first timer. Rebecca, you are welcome to the Read platform. Drum rolls for you already. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Emanuela from Abuja, you're welcome. Yes, thank you, Rebecca. We know this is your first time, and we definitely know that this won't be your last time, because we know you will keep coming back and coming back again, because you will get so much value. If there's something we deliver in Read, it is value, and you will be getting that definitely tonight. Are we ready with the video? Fams, are we good to go? I am so pumped up for tonight, really. I am so ready for tonight, and I can't wait to hear our amazing speakers. Just listening to their short videos they sent that we used for publicity just blew my mind. And I was just, I've been anticipating since the first time I saw those videos, just waiting for them. These are men who are well-read. They are specialists, experts in their field. And I just want to prepare your mind that you will learn a lot, and I want you to be ready for that. So without much ado, I want to invite the media team to please play the video for tonight. Are we ready? Media crew, are we ready? Okay, yes, we are.
Read Platform is a non-profit, non-governmental and non-religious platform created to produce ethical millionaires, thought leaders and change agents who are motivated to create positive changes in the sands of time across the globe. Our definition of a millionaire is someone who is able to give $1 million in any currency he or she is earning to a worthy cause of their choice that would bring about transformational effects to the society at large. We aim to produce minimum of 10 millionaires annually across the globe. This, we intend to achieve by providing a platform that supports individuals to develop and maintain healthy habits and make better day-to-day decisions through acquisition of the right knowledge and ideas. We encourage people to reach and fulfill their potentials by exposing them to global leaders, role models, mentors who have made positive impacts in this generation, deploying the social media platform to connect mentees to mentors, a person at a time, a day at a time, a habit at a time. We read a book a month and also have a webinar a month to address aching issues raised in the course of the month. We are poised to raise world-class leaders who will utilize their resources and abilities to effect the change that the world desires.
Our social media handles.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. If you can hear me, can I see it in the chat room? Good evening, everybody. If you can hear me, can I see you in the chat room? Can I see you in the chat room? Okay. Thank you so much, Bunmi. Thank you so much, Offense. Thank you, everybody, for showing up early. We are moving very fast. And as we said, our webinars are always amazing at Read. So you've seen briefly what we're at Read. If you're coming in for the first time, can we see you in the chat room so that the ushers can locate you and give you the special seat in front? So if this is your first time, say hello in the chat room. Hello, and where are you joining from? From Accra, Canada, Nigeria, Makadi, Benin, where are you joining from? All our first timers, ushers, locate them and give them the first time welcome. Our special package to all the first timers. We have Ellen from Madison. Helen, welcome. Locate Helen, give her the first time package. Paula Shade Ayeni, I can see your hand up. You're joining us for the first time from where? Idris Ahmad from Kaduna. How is Kaduna? Zaria, Kaduna. Ushers, locate them, give them the first time welcome. Please make sure they get the front row seat for all our first timers. That's the way we do it at Read. Okay, so thank you, everybody. My name is Adepoju Oluwatuminino. And on behalf of Read Welcome, I'd like to, on behalf of the Read family, I'd like to welcome you to an amazing seminar. What are we at Read? We're simply a community of people that is going somewhere to happen. The world is on the lookout for us. And our ambition is to raise a minimum of 10 millionaires. Alex, you're joining us for the first time live. Yes, we always throw away our video. Welcome, Alex. Our ambition is to raise a minimum of 10 millionaires, ethical millionaires, because you can make money anyway. But here, the vision is raising ethical millionaires. And believe me, you can be one of them. The main difference between a poor man and a broke man is simply their habits. It's not the money in their bank account, it is their habits, and that is what we are learning. And today, we are having amazing people. You can see me right in the middle of them. These ones are my brothers. As in, I have been excited about this webinar. We are having Mayowa from the UK. Mayowa is very big. Incidentally, they are both technology people. I don't know. I don't want to talk too much, but it would be like a technology parapol thing. But yes, we are taking over the world. Technology is taking over the world. You just can't help it. So we have Mayowa from the UK, Henry in Nigeria, and all of us are connecting together via technology to have an amazing time. Henry, I call him the king of network. They say your network is your network, and it's going to be taking us on an amazing journey today. A poor man, as they say, and I'm sure you guys know it, one poor man in the midst of 10 rich people, automatically the 11th rich person is going to be the poor man. And on the reverse, if you are the only rich person in your network, it's only a function of time before you become poor. So we'll be learning how to actually increase our network, join the right network. And Mayowa is going to be taking us through how to practically increase our networks. This is not a webinar that you are going to leave the same. Trust me, even if it is one or two things, you will see that in Read, we say we change a habit at a time, a day at a time. There are some things that after this webinar, you will stop doing. And there are some things that after this webinar, you will start doing, and your future self will thank you for it. Because of our time, I don't want to stay too long in our face, so this is us as read, and I'll be coming back up. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Adepoju Oluwatumilenu. I want to welcome you to the time of your life. Thank you and enjoy the webinar. Bye for now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. Please help me appreciate my coach in the chats. Please help me appreciate her. Yes, Mr. Henry is doing that already. Thank you so much, sir. I call her a force. She's a powerful force. And there's something she always says, and please let me put that out to you. She says, if your life is not moving forward, see, it's not because of village people. It is because you are not tired of where you are. And you know, when we hear that at Read, it just keeps you running. It sets you on your toes. It's not village people. It is you. If anything will change in your life, you must be the one to change. And that is what we are doing tonight, just getting knowledge so that we can shift from where we are to where we need to be. So I hope we are ready. I want to read something from Grant Cardone. It says your network determines your net worth, which means that people that you choose to surround yourself with will determine whether you are the prince or the pauper in all senses of those words. And that is what we'll be learning about tonight. I want you to get ready because you will be receiving knowledge. Wisdom will be hitting you from every side. And you know, as you hear, I don't want you to just take it, because knowledge that is not put to use is just potential power. It is the one you put to action that would actually change your life. So listen, but also be ready to put to actions all the things you would be hearing. You know, as I was thinking about today's webinar, I thought about the current Davido's challenge that I put up. You know, a 29 years old young man put up a challenge, and you know, within hours, he has raised 200 million. Please, who are the people in your circle? I was asking myself, Bunmi, who are the people in your circle? Who are the people in your community? And we'll be learning about that tonight, how to increase our network and how to use our network to increase our net worth in 2022. And, you know, I don't want us to wait for 2022. We have to start now. So get ready. We'll be looking at the profiles of our speakers in a few minutes. And I hope you are ready. See, these people will blow your mind. Just looking at their profile is enough. So I want us to sit back, relax, and just listen to watch the video that will be displayed shortly, just because of our time. Thank you so much. We're good to go for the video. Media team.
Henry Aikhionbare is a versatile communicator, speaker, trainer and coach certified by the John Maxwell team with over 10 years experience in delivering value. He is also a project manager and has handled worldwide projects running into millions of dollars for clients within specified schedule and budget constraints. He started his career in the customer service department of Harris as a support engineer and is currently a service delivery manager for Aviat Networks. His professional experience spans across the UK, US, Canada, Nigeria, and various countries of the world. Henry holds an MSc Telecommunications degree from the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University Zaria and an MBA in Strategic Planning from the Edinburgh Business School Heriot-Watt in Scotland. Below are some of the international recognized certifications that he holds that helps in service delivery. Lean Six Sigma Black Belt from the American School of Quality USA. PGMP, PMP and RMP from Project Management Institute USA. Scrum Master Certified VMedu USA, ITIL-V3 Expert from EXIN USA. CBAP from IIBA Canada. He is very passionate about delivering value and exceptional service to anyone he comes across and believes everyone has a part to play in making the world a better place. Mayowa Olusoji, a consummate investment banking professional with a remarkable depth of 20 years in investment banking and transaction experience. He is a knowledge coach at SmartStwards, a knowledge simplifier who specializes in interpretation, analysis, and simplification of information. Mayowa holds an MBA from Leeds Business School, United Kingdom. He is also a seasoned project consultant, an entrepreneur and an avid reader.
Bunmi Okesola is a child protection and development practitioner with over 5 years' experience in the NGO space as an advocate against sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, and violence against women and girls, VAWG.
Working as the lead programs manager in a leading NGO focused on SGBV against children, she spearheaded several projects including projects funded by DFID, UN Women and the French Embassy. Her experience spans through program design, management, and implementation, gender advocacy, community mobilization, facilitation, and provision of psychosocial support for victims of sexual abuse. As a survivor of abuse herself, she is very passionate about equipping and empowering children, especially girls, with what they need to thrive and live a purposeful life free from abuse. She is an ardent God chaser and her current role is the general manager at El Talis Foundation, a faith-based nonprofit organization, gives her the platform to pursue her passion of partnering with and coaching parents, stakeholders to raise godly, confident and capable children. Bunmi Okesola holds a degree in botany and is currently being trained as a counselor so she can serve her target audience better. She is known for her commitment to serve humanity as she puts to use her strong people skills. She believes that life is all about impact and she is here for it. Ladies and gentlemen, on this prestigious platform, let us make welcome our guest speakers and our moderator for this webinar.
All right, thank you so much, media. Wow, did you see those bio? I hope you are ready for tonight. I am so pumped up and ready. Without wasting time, join me, welcome. I'm waiting for your emojis, your standing ovations in your heart. I'm waiting for those emojis on the chat, else I will not make welcome our first speaker for tonight. Please join me, welcome a prominent project manager, a networking expert. I'm looking at the chat right now. I'm just looking at the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Give it to me in the chat. Please, let's welcome powerfully Mr. Henry Sue. Yes, yes, yes. You see, we are ready for you, Mr. Henry. Please welcome. We're happy to have you here. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. You have the floor for tonight. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Bunmi. I'm so excited and humbled to be here. And I really appreciate everyone's time. Like the mantra I always preach, that time is more precious than any material thing. Sorry, I think someone's speaker is on. Can you just mute? Thank you. So like I always preach, one of my mantras is that time is more precious than any material thing. Because money you can recover, buildings can be rebuilt, even relationships can be restored. But once time has gone, you cannot recapture it. And that's why I really, really appreciate you people for taking our time this weekend, especially on the weekend, especially on a Saturday. Now in 2004, Patrick Lee, the CEO of Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes at that time was an online website that used to critique movies, and it was very popular. He sold it for $10 million in 2004. 5 years later, it sold for $90 million. And he wrote books about how he made that bad mistake. Experts say it was a bad sale, it was a bad mistake. And his singular reason was because of his network. And he went around to intentionally build his network. And that's why I agree with Tim Sanders, former Yahoo executive, public speaker. He says, your network is your net worth. And that's why I'll be speaking on optimizing your network to impact your net worth. So I'll share some slides with you. And please carry out your pen and papers and just take some points down. So let me share my screen. Immediately you start seeing my screen, please let me know. Let me know. Okay. Speaking of the screen, yeah. So I don't know, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
nice.
Yes.
I'll try to make this not too interactive. So like I said, maximizing your network to impart your net worth. And I'll be speaking on 3 keys, just 3. Your communication skills, authenticity, and adding value. Now, most people think that traditional networking is you go for an event, you collect cards, you want to meet a Dangote, you want to meet an Otedola, and you go home. But really, networking is about optimizing, first step, your communication. And Aristotle, a famous philosopher, so many years ago, broke communication down into 3 parts: ethos, logos, and pathos. These are Greek words. Ethos accounts for 10% of your communication. And this talks about credibility. For example, some of you are here because of Itinu, the founder of this foundation. You don't know me from anywhere. Some of you are here because you know me. Some of you are here as family. You know, sometimes, even if you talk rubbish, you always have your fans. Like for me, if I say anything, my mom still always hail me. She's my #1 fan. But great communicators are behind every movement and brand that they can think of. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, people that they even thought that were not flexible at all. They had to learn how to communicate. And ethos means that someone credible has introduced you, or you're a credible person, and that just takes 10%. Now we talk about logos. Logos means facts and figures, and is about 25% of your communication. And what this has to do with is, it has to do with measurements. For example, as a rule of thumb, I try to read minimum of 6 books every month. This month, well, I've been able to read like 11. 5 educational, 6 fiction. I'm trying to read 1 educational to make it 12. So those are facts and figures that I record to try and improve myself. But the most important part of communication is what you call pathos, which is 65%. And this means how you coin your narrative, how you tell your stories. Like I can tell you today, okay, I finished with a 2-1 from engineering, from school, my first degree. Okay, a lot of people did that. But if I tell you that it took me 11 years to finish with that 2-1, it took me 2 attempts. I had to leave school and write JAMB again. When I was entering school the second time, my mates that entered school the first time were in their final year. It's a story. It inspires people. We'll not talk about that. That's a story for another day. And in communicating, you need some skills. First skill you need is interpersonal skill. Because the honest truth is, people listen to people that they like. And interpersonal skills are the tools you use to get on with other people. People rather work with you if they like you. Silence is golden, but verbal communication is platinum. So if you can talk well, if you are open to feedback, if you are reliable, if you are honest, you have integrity, you have those interpersonal skills that people like you, to go a long way. Now, there's a particular communication skill which is called public speaking. Now, the honest truth is that people are more scared of public speaking than scared of death. People do not like to be in the eye of the storm. People do not like to be in front where people will criticize you. But the honest truth is that in life, you must have a public speaking skill because you don't know when you will need it. And in public speaking, you need to plan, you need to practice, you need to pay attention, listen to your audience, you need to engage your audience. And I'll talk about people that they refer to as geeks. I'll talk about Bill Gates. People view him as a geek, but if you have listened to some of his speeches, in short, there was one that he was talking about malaria. He was trying to raise up funds for malaria in Africa. So he came on stage and came with a container. And he spoke about the challenges of malaria, what malaria can do to you. And he now opened up that container. And insects started flying out. And he said that I've released mosquitoes into this place because it's mosquitoes that carry malaria. Everybody was stunned. Everybody was scared. Those that were not paying attention just started paying attention. Then he now said, but don't worry, we have removed the malaria parasite from these mosquitoes. He had to learn public speaking. Steve Jobs, when he was introducing the iPod, when he was introducing the first system, in short, he was always so dramatic. Try and watch some of their speeches. And that's why public speaking is very important. Then quick thinking skills. In communication, you have to be able to think fast on your feet. This is the ability to process information and make assessments in a very limited amount of time, especially in difficult situations. And I look back. An example of that was when I wanted to get married to my wife. I'm an old school guy. So the way it's done is you first of all meet your prospective father-in-law, even though he had been seeing me around the house. But in his mind, he did not know me. But you know the way it is, you first of all know your mother-in-law first. Then she'll wet the ground. Then you officially, I know that is still done in these days. You officially go and meet your father-in-law. Then before you take your parents, before they do the introduction and the marriage. So I arranged the meeting with him. And by the time I went there, so he just said, young man, what have you come for? I started talking. And I said, wait. He said, please, bring a drink. That's alcohol. Now in my head, I started processing information so fast. I said, should I drink? If I drink, my father-in-law will know I drink. My mother-in-law doesn't really like people drinking. But again, I've learned not to refuse drinks from elders. And again, sometimes when an elder is giving you a drink, he is welcoming you and looking at you as a man. So snap decision. All this took like maybe just 2-3 seconds. I said, no problem, sir. We brought one stout. Later on, I learned that he also has a mantra. You know, people have different mantras, that he does not trust people that do not drink. I'm not encouraging drinking. This was like 11, 12 years ago when I wanted to get married. So I'll go on to the next step. And that's the next pointer, authenticity. And I used a word here, day your lane. If you know day your lane, you go fall for inside hole. You need to know whom you are. Know what your strengths and weaknesses are. Don't be a copyright. Don't be a copy. I have this friend. He's very, very funny. He's sarcastically funny. In short, he'll be insulting people and they'll be laughing. There was a time I liked the way he used to do it, and I tried to do it. I came off sounding as arrogant and horrible. For me, I know my strengths. I'm the life of the party. If I enter somewhere, you will know that I'm there. I do not take life too seriously. In short, one of the videos that I sent out just to invite people to come, I was laughing. I was talking about Patrick Lee. So I was laughing. A lot of people came and say, you're not serious. What do you mean network is your network? And you're laughing. It is my style. I know my lane. So I did my lane. Some people will say that if you need to be a public speaker, if you need to be motivational, you need to be able to speak Queen's English. Okay. Tomorrow, I'll be going to London. I'll see the Queen. Then we'll have a conversation for like 7 minutes. No be my way. As I did talk, people know they grab me. So I did my lane. I know my weaknesses and my strengths. I cannot be John Maxwell. I can try to emulate him. I cannot be Tony Robbins. I cannot be Les Brown, but I can be a Henry Aikhionbare. And I can still pass the message across. Now, the second thing in authenticity is that you must join a community. For example, I wanted to learn how to speak in front of people. Sometimes when I stand, I'm kind of shy. In short, most people say they have anxieties. Even Warren Buffett, till date, he says before he has a public talk, he has anxieties. So I had to learn. And I now I joined the John Maxwell team. And the truth is, if you want to be something, you join that group. If you want to be a footballer, join a club. In short, there was a time that if you wanted to be a millionaire, you join the polo club in Abuja, or you go and start learning how to play golf. Then an example of me joining a power committee in my estate. And I tell people that when you're in a group, the best way to learn when you join a community is to volunteer when there's a task to do. So we have 24 hours light, and we're not too pleased with our power vendor because his prices are a little bit on the high side. So they asked for volunteers to join a power committee, and I decided to join. And I kid you not, what I have learned in joining that committee about facility management, not only about power, I think I can even start my own facilities company. And that's why I encourage you to always join a group, always join a committee. Very, very important. The next pointer in being authentic and true to yourself is to build relationships. Because relationships actually help us to define who we are and what we become. In short, most of the successes in my life have been built on pivotal relationship. We cannot survive alone. You can't be a hermit. You have to learn to understand people. You have to learn to be friendly. You have to learn the game. In short, using Itino as an example, that is the founder of this read. Before I met her, I heard stories about her. You know what they call lion eater? Person where they eat lion, they chop human being. And the first time we met herself, she tried to I beg it no vex. The first meeting we had, she even tried to intimidate us. Hey, well, this, you know, you see this lady, she comes in. I know in the telecom sector, to be a woman and to run things, you must be strong. There are people that will test you for no reason at all. So she came and she was giving us warning. She did address, we flew in from Lagos to Abuja. Feel me, the way she did address us, the way she was talking. I said, okay. But we had a good business relationship. In short, the project we ran with M10 was beautiful. And we also now had a friendship. We built a relationship. Itino is somebody that I can call. If I have an issue, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, we discuss, and you get some nuggets of wisdom from her. And in the same way, when she tells me that, Henry, you must do this session for me, no matter how busy my schedule is, I'll make out time for her. It's based on relationship, based on mutual respect. And I tell people that give respect freely, but expect to earn it from others. And if I look back, people that have appreciated, the best bosses I've worked with, I still have a relationship with them. We're friends, even after our professional relationship has ended. And how do you build relationship? I'll just talk a bit about this. Try to put others first. In the Bible, they say, do unto others as you have others do unto you. Now, do not carry emotional baggage into relationships. In the sense that you say, okay, this person treated me like this. So any relationship I have or friendship I have, I'll try and hit the person back. No. Resolve all old wrongs and get beyond it. Any new relationship is a new relationship on its own. And give out time for your most valuable relationship. This is the one that shocks me the most. Most of your valuable relationships, people do not take it serious because they feel that that person will always be there. Sometimes you end up taking that person for granted. In short, a story worthy to mention was beginning of this week. I have some that I will not call names that works for me. So I keep on telling him, sees me and my wife going out, doing stuff. He says one day he will do it because he's a proper military guy. Hello? Okay. Sorry, can people hear me? Because I just heard the host wanted to unmute me. Can people hear me? Sorry.
Yes,
did you lose
we can
me?
hear you now, sir.
Yes, we
Okay,
can hear you now.
Sorry, when did you lose me?
Just a few seconds back, not so long. Yes.
Okay. So I was saying that people take their most valuable relationships for granted because you think that this person is always there for you. And I was talking about a story, someone that works for me. So it was the anniversary, he made some t-shirts, he took his wife out, and he behaves like a military man because he just feels my wife is there. You know, he had that military orientation. But the honest truth is that when he took his wife out, he said he just took her out for fish and drinks. The joy and the excitement that she felt. He was the one telling me. He said, he'll be doing this thing more often. No, he works. I don't know what she gave him after the outing. But he said he worked. And always trying to express love and appreciate others. Now, how do you be authentic in everything you do when you're building your network? First step is to internally validate yourself. The main problem we have right now is we're always looking for outside validation. We want people to evaluate us, we want people to validate us from outside. We try to live Okay, so the host keeps on muting and unmuting me. So I think maybe it's an error. Okay. So like I said, validate yourself. Do not run with the pack. A lion knows he's a lion. He does not chase after the pack. He's laser focused. He knows his what. And you need to know your what. You don't need to depend on what other people would say. You don't need to live up to their expectations. You need to understand yourself. And the first step towards that is you must have a definition of success. Like I tell people, if your definition of success is 10,000 views on Instagram, it's your own. I feel it may be myopic, but it's your definition of success. When you reach it, be happy. If your definition of success is to have a family, build a house, it's your own. So have your definition of success. The second thing is find your area of relevance. Once you're able to define success, that means you must make yourself relevant in every situation. They call it value. And the last thing is always be grateful and content for where you are. That's a mistake people make. Now, don't mistake contentment and containment. Some people will not move forward, will not improve, will not grow. And they will say it's because they are content. But the truth is, contentment is I'm enjoying where I am. I'm enjoying the process, but I will stretch. And I remember when me and when we got married like 11 years ago. When two of us, when we're still going out, when we got married, remember how we go climb one Okada? Because this Lagos is not easy. Then I remember when we transitioned to entering inside Downfall, Molwe. I remember one challenge that they did recently. They said, what is your worst moment in a Molwe? You know, and funny enough, throughout this process, we used to enjoy it because when you enter a bus, especially for those of you in Lagos, you know how funny it is. So when we enter inside, you will not have change. They will say, see, don't enter without change. Conductor will tell the person will enter with 1,000 naira. When he wants to come, they will start fighting. In short, it's almost like a comedy. That challenge, the person that won that challenge said, in a Mulwe, his worst encounter was when 4 people tried to enter the Mulwe, they were trying to enter with a dead person. The conductor was saying, for this dead person, I will charge you double the price. In short, it was crazy. And we're now trying to fit the dead person in. Now, remember that life is a process. And that's why John Maxwell says, be satisfied with what you have, but never satisfied with who you are. And next step to be authentic is commitment. You have to set objectives and follow through and stick with it. The honest truth is nothing good comes easy. People see the results. People see the cash. People see, okay, when you are joyful. People see when you buy the properties, they forget that you have worked for it. It doesn't come easy. Sustainable things that are permanent in your life does not come easy. And an example is Ronaldo. Even if you don't play football, everybody knows Ronaldo. I think right now Instagram is number 1. That's why it has the most followers. Even people that do not even understand football. He has broken over 30 records and he's 36. So if you understand football very well, people start retiring when they're 32, 33, 34. He's 36, but he's still breaking records. And the singular thing that they pointed to is his commitment. In short, there's a story that Patrice Eva was giving one day that Ronaldo went to play tennis with Roy Ferdinand and he lost. And what did he do? He went to go and buy a board. He started practicing. And then he came back weeks after and he was beating everybody. Guy was committed. And in commitment, there are just some keys. In growing your network, first of all, keep your promise to others. Because when you do it, you end up building trust and strong relationship. And so most times, this mantra, your word is your bond, is very important. Keep your promise to yourself when you're committed. Because what it does for you is that it builds character, it builds esteem, it builds confidence, and it also brings out success. And there are some keys to commitment. You must have a strong desire for it. That's why I say, if you say, I want to network, I just want to increase, it must be something that you desire. You're hungry for it, like Steve Jobs said. Stay hungry, stay foolish. You must count the costs. So, okay, what will it cost me? You must have some keystone actions that every day, this is what I'll do for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just like I said, my commitment is to at least read 6 books every month. Sometimes I do more than that. And you must act on commitments, not feelings. And what I mean by that is there are some times that you will not be interested in doing something, but you end up doing it because you are committed. That's why some of these apps are so important. They will say 30-day challenge. Whether I like it or not, you have said, so you just say, let me just do it. Let me just finish it. So not the feeling that you're having at that time, but you have already made a commitment. So I go to the next slide. And I talk about adding value. And what do I mean by this? Even people that you follow, you must add value to them. Most times, and that's why I spoke about relationship, it should not be transactional. What you want must be deep, not wide. So you must ask yourself this question: why do you want to meet that person? Do you want to learn from that person? Do you want to get some information from that person? Remember that if you are looking at one person, a lot of people are also looking at that person. Like I can imagine what Dangote's schedule is. A lot of people are jostling for his time. So what value are you bringing to that person? What do you have to offer? For example, someone will say, Henry, you know the president of GE, that's in Nigeria here, Mohammed Mijindadi. Yeah, his close friend, you know him. I want to meet him. Why should I reference you? Why do you want to meet him? What value add can you give to him? And I tell you, an example is the first time I read a John Maxwell book, I knew that I wanted to meet him. And I got my dream fulfilled in 2019. But I had to spend money. Bought plane tickets. I stayed in the Marriott Hotel. I had to pay for taking pictures with him. And I finally met him. Now I had to spend money. And even after meeting him and joining John Maxwell team, because you can't just join John Maxwell team like that. It means that the relationship is symbiotic, because right now I spread his message, I extend his brand. And at least when people see me, they also see his brand. So you must add value. And what are some of the steps? I call it deliberate selection. Someone wants to follow everybody at the same time. Why? Time and life is short. To follow somebody, whether it's an event, whether you want to join an association, you must first of all research it. And the honest truth is, for an event, the less the people there are in that event, the better your chances of meeting with that person and networking with that person. Classical example is our governor, Sanwo-Olu. Even his friends that used to meet him back then, maybe that they used to hang out every weekend, they don't have that access to him now because he has a bigger responsibility. There are people that he must meet. So it's easier to meet him. Instead of saying, I want to meet Sanlu in a rally, it's easier to become a member of a Koi club and meet him while he's playing golf. So you must be very deliberate. They must also invest in the process. And what do I mean by that? All these engagements take your time. They take your money. They take a lot of investments from you. So you must first of all plan. The plan must be daily, it must be weekly, it must be monthly. Right now, I have a calendar of major events that will attend in a year at the beginning of the year. I may add one or two when the need arises. But from the beginning of the year, I already know, okay, I'm going to attend the John Maxwell conference, maybe in Orlando. I'm going to do this. It's already specified from January. So I plan towards it. Then also when you're planning, you must have and look at your results. You must have your intention. You must get feedback. And you must have a scoring system for yourself so that you look at successful techniques that work for you and those that do not work. I have an email template that if I send to you, you must read. And that came after a lot of research. I'll send it to you just like 7-8 lines. You will read it because of the way I'll start and the way I'll end. And in this investment in the process, when you even meet the person, always go back and take notes so that I do not forget. Because during the initial conversation, he may mention his likes, he may mention his children's name, he may mention his birthday date. Do you know how awesome it is when someone remembers? Look at, we're all humans now. When someone remembers your birthday, someone that you are not even thinking of remembers your birthday and gives you a gift. That's the same thing. Just when you're trying to network with, you remember some pieces of information that he has given to you. And always try to follow up. So I'm going to give 2 examples here. And sorry, I'm a man of faith, the Christian faith. I know there are people of different religions. Some people do not even believe in religions, but because of I'm a man of the Christian faith. So I'll give an example from the Bible of having a network. I'll give a personal example. I'll give an example of not having a network and a biblical example. So my first personal example is my second attempt in the university. Based on the experience I had. So everything I had to do had to be deliberate because I had wasted time. So for my academics network, we were 3 close friends. Me, Abdul Salam, that we currently work together, and Mukhtar, that works in the NMPC. Now, each person had his core. Like Absalam was the hustler. He was the one that could get past questions, relevant textbook, articles, and whatever was required to pass a course. Mukhtar was the super intelligent one that could solve and dissect any problem or any course. He was always ready to help. And in that academic network, me, I was the one that organized the relaxations, the faji, the enjoyments, and my past experience. Now, even on the fun side, I had different networks, but there was one that was close to my heart. That's for having fun. There was Mo, there was Pato, there was Sense, there was Benzino. Pato was the one that knew all the ladies. He was an MC, he was a person that could mix. Mo was the guy that nobody could mess with. Once Mo is there, you know that insurance covers you. Saint was working when we were in school, so he had a lot of cash. Benzino was the politician, knew the school authorities, knew how to circumvent some process when it was necessary. He knew the good and the bad. Me, I had the mobility. I was the one that had the car and I had the local resources because I actually lived in Zaria. I was a Zaria boy. So these were deliberate networks. And we had relationships and we're still friends till date as I speak to you. Now, the biblical example of a network can be found in Luke chapter 5, verse 18 to 25. Now, there was a time that Jesus Christ was preaching to people and there was a crowd. It was popular. People were trying to meet with him and there was someone that was sick. He had friends. They tried to enter that building, but they could not because of the crowd. They now went to the roof. They removed the tilings. They lowered this guy in front of Jesus. And what he said in verse 20 was, I saw their faith. So not the sick guy's own, was the faith of his network. Even not for his network of friends that were ready to go above and beyond, that guy would have not been healed. Now I go to the second example, and I also use the same analogy of no network. I also start with school. Now my second attempt, by the time I was in 300 level, because in my 100 level, I had one of the best results based on experience. So by the time I was in 300 level, a lot of people were inspired. So I had this friend that also entered. He now came back to school and he entered 100 level. But it's an assumption. I think one of the mistakes he made was that he did not have a network with his peers. He was always hanging out with us that were older guys in 300, the guys that were in 4 and the guys that were in 5. And I feel bad to say this, that he was not able to finish, even trying to start again, second attempt. Why? He did not build his network. Now, the biblical example I will give can be found in John chapter 5, verse 5 to 9. There was a lame man who had infirmity for 38 years, and he was by the pool of Bethesda. So it was said that sometimes an angel will come, and the angel will come and stir up the water. And whoever entered the water at that time will become whole. But he said something in verse 7. When Jesus saw him and asked him, why have you been here for a very long time? He said, I have nobody to put me in the pool when he stirred. This shows that we need a network. We need people. We cannot survive on our own. And what are some of the challenges that we have? First challenge in building a network is the fear of people rejecting you. Fear of public speaking, fear of meeting new people. Now, I will not delve into this because this is a subject on its own, but I'll just give you some keys. You can try having positive thoughts, which is called reframing. You can look with excitement at every opportunity that comes, so you don't look at the fear. Instead, you get pumped up by the excitement. And you read, there are a lot of books and a lot of things on how you conquer fear, but it's a major challenge. Another challenge, and sometimes it's baffling, people don't utilize opportunities within their strengths. They look at other people. You can play football very well, but you say because they are paying people millions in dancing ballet, you want to learn ballet. You can play football very well, but yeah, maybe like 4 feet 2 inches. You say no, it's basketball that you want to learn because you found that first year when they sign you, NBA, it's like 8 million. Utilize opportunities within your strengths. You can say you want to meet Dangote or $10, but the truth is there are people within your sphere around that you can network with, you can start from there, you can build up yourself from there. And that's why you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths and try and delegate your weaknesses and work on your weaknesses, but work from your strengths. That's why sometimes I see business people, they say they want to learn how to build a website and the rest. They don't know how, but they know business very well. Delegate that part. And the last challenge is wrong beliefs. Some people say white boys can't rap. Look at Eminem. Some people say if you're not a Yoruba person, you cannot thrive in Lagos. There's Parapo. It's a lie. Look at me. Some people say public speaking is for those that can speak phonetics. It's a lie. There's some people that won't give public speaking with pidgin English. Forget the beliefs. I can't access this person. This person will look at me with scorn and the rest. Forget those beliefs. Change your orientation and your attitude. Now, all I have been saying will be summed up in just one video. I'll play this video, things like some seconds. So please, just watch. So that video, what that video depicted is that know your strengths. There's a difference between the driver and all the mechanics that were trying to ensure that the guy leaves on time. Day your lane. The tire guy was not asking the fuel guy, is the tank full? The fuel guy was not asking the driver. It'd be like, say, hold the steering wheel. Add value. Whatever work that you're doing, try to do it well. And remember that in that video, for the driver to succeed, he needed all of them to succeed. And that's why that thing was in seconds. Formula One, they change. If they don't do that, the driver may not come first. So in summary, you impact your net worth by intentionally working on your network. And before you optimize your network, you must work on yourself. Then you must build up your investment, spend money. It will take time. Place value on relationships. And like Warren Buffett said, very rich guy, read his books, makes sense. The best investment you can make is in yourself. That's why I encourage people to read. It exposes you, opens your mind. Then you can't give what you do not have. Once you have it, invest in people. And I'll end here. I'll digress a little bit. It's the Yuletide season. Sorry, someone, can you mute your mic? Sorry, someone is playing music. Yeah. It's the Yuletide season. And it's a period of giving back. And I always tell people, just like the example I gave earlier on, think about those that are close to you, that have supported you from beginning of the year till the end. Think of people that have invested time and efforts in your life. Just choose two people to intentionally bless them this Christmas season. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Ready for any questions and answers.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Wow. That was so much in a few minutes. Thank you so much, sir. I wish we could take questions right away, but I need to bring up the next speaker. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry. You've given us so much value. In fact, I've written so much already in my notes. And we really, please, let's appreciate Mr. Henry in the chat. I can't see you. Yes. Wow, this is awesome. Thank you, Mr. Henry. We appreciate you. And we are definitely coming with our questions. Please get ready. We just want to give you a breather. Take some time, take some water while we get set to listen to Mr. Mayowa with your favorite emoji, clapping ovation, standing ovation. You can be standing. Please, let's make welcome Mr. Mayowa Olusoji, another expert that will be taking us on this beautiful journey. It's already hot in the room, but it's getting hotter. So tighten your seatbelt. We'll be cruising. In fact, it's a Tesla ride. So get ready. Yes, the chat is buzzing. You are welcome, sir. Thank you so much. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Henry. That was very, very important. The bit about the Formula One is very important because things happen at a speed, but you actually don't see the collaboration going on there. There is this thing, I'm sorry, I've got to pick up from where he's finished. We all want to start and just want to be a lone wolf. I can do it by myself. I don't need nobody. That is a lie. We're created in a connected world to be connected together. Your network is your greatest net worth, because there are some doors you will never be able to go into unless you are invited into those doors. There are places your money, it doesn't matter how rich you are, you can never see the Queen of England unless you are invited. So it is not just about money, it's about the network. And it's been proven scientifically, you're an average of 3 to 5 closest people you are within a period of 3 to 5 years. So that is an awesome one, sir. Thank you very much. I took a great lesson from that. So where do we start today? Is it okay for me to actually share some slides?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we can see the slide.
Growing your net worth 2022. I always like to start by saying this. Life is governed by principles. Your exploits in any category, in any domain, in any department, in any sphere of life is directly proportionally related to the knowledge, the understanding, and application of the principles that govern that sphere of life. What does that mean? That means in every terrain you want to, if you want to be successful in your marital life, the skill set required, the principle that govern that area is completely different to the ones that govern the area of finances. That is why we see so many billionaires that are divorced. So in any area of life you want to operate in, you first need to understand what are the knowledge, the principle that's applying there. You get the information, the knowledge. The next thing is the understanding, because there is a difference between knowing something and understanding that. And then the third part is actually the application. And I always go a step further to say something. Knowledge is a moving target. What does that mean? That means the knowledge you had 5 years ago is already outdated. The knowledge you had last week is already outdated. This is one example I like to give. As I'm standing right now, where you are, do you know the earth is actually spinning? Though it's very slow, you don't feel it, but the earth is spinning. So that means for you to remain in the same position you are in, the minimum requirement is for you to move at the same speed that the earth is moving. So that means whatever you knew at 5 o'clock is already going to be outdated by the time that is 6 p.m. That is why it's important. It is a journey. It is not a destination. You continue to learn, and to learn. Now let's talk about the real thing. Now we're zooming down in terms of the principle, in terms of the areas. We're going into a particular niche, and this is a very interesting one. And that is the niche that is most important to all of us. When we're talking about networks, basically what we're talking about there is wealth. You can call it anything. In real sense, they're all different. But let us lump everything together for the sake of this conversation. Let's lump it together and call wealth, riches. This is not a session for that. We put all that together. We call it wealth creation. According to Forbes, Elon Musk was the richest man as the time I was making the slide on 28th of November. He was the richest man in the world as at that time. But there's something they always say about the rich list. They call it the rich list, but they say something. It's the rich list, but they will say is worth. What that tells you there is wealth is measured in the worth. So it is not about what they didn't tell us that, oh, he's got £5 million or 5 billion naira in the account. No, they will tell you he's worth this. What does that mean? And that brings us to what I call the first principle. High income does not equate to wealth. It is not about how much you make. There is this misconception about, wow, when someone earns a lot of money, they are loaded. No. It's good to play the offense game, which is called earning high, but it does not directly correlate it to wealth. You don't measure wealth by what you make. And that is where the first principle will come in today. It is not what you make that defines wealth. It is what you keep. That is what defines your wealth. And that is when you come to the point which says your net worth. Your net worth is all your assets, simply English, what you own. All your liability, what you owe. The distance between that, it's what's your net worth. That is what you're actually worth. So saying somebody who has 50 buildings, 500 cars, whatever he does, it's okay, we can see what he owns. The question there is, what does he own? If whatever he owns is greater than what he owns, then it's negative. That means he's worth nothing. My first question to you today is, do you know your net worth? If I ask you today and I say, oh, Patience Bello, tell me, what is your net worth? Do you know what that number is? And that is what it's saying, from part of where I come from. They say, if they throw me up like this and I hit the ground, baga, what is all about me? What is your net worth? Because what you don't track, you can't measure. What you don't measure, you cannot improve. So before we start the journey of increasing our net worth in 2022, my question to you is, what is your net worth? What are you currently worth? What are you in terms of financially right now? We're zooming down to that financial section as part of out of the part of life. That takes me to the next one. I'm going to rush the slides because I can see I've got about just 30 minutes, so I'll try to put in as much as possible within that. That takes me to the next one. When we talk about the net worth, it's the gap between your liability, your asset and liability. That gap there, it's what I call your farmland. And that is the area whereby you need to identify, you need to cultivate, you need to nurture. Doing those three things are three different things. Identifying is you knowing where you are, what I call the status quo. Culturing out means, okay, how do I make it better? How do I make it grow? Because the bigger that gap, the greater your net worth becomes. And then how do you nurture it? How do you take care of it? How do you manage it? How do you make sure it multiplies? That is the next stage. What are the key requirements? What do we really need to make this thing happen? We're looking forward to 2022. To me, I would advise, make tonight your 31st of December. Make tomorrow your 1st of January. It is just a change of calendar. So when you're talking about 2022, decide in your mind, like I'm retuning my mind. I'm making tonight my 31st December. That means I'm writing new rules. Tomorrow is going to be my happy new year. So what are the things I need? What are the key requirements to make this happen? I've put together a couple of things. The first one I call time. The second one I call knowledge. The third I call understanding. And it goes back to that first slide I shared with you, application. Why is this important? It's easier for me to say, oh, I've got 5 stocks, I know 5 coins, I can tell you to go and put your money in, and then you blossom. But there is something in my favorite book. It said, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So let's get down, let's get things down to let's go to the foundation. Let's go down to what makes those things blossom. Whenever you put a seed in the ground, it goes down first, then it starts to grow. Now we want to build something bigger in 2022. Let's excavate. Instead of us building quickly, let's take it easy. Let's go down. Let's redig the foundation. So the first one we talk about is time. The first thing now, which I'm sure we all know here, is whatever you are right now, whatever you have at this point in time, you bought that with your time. That is what you were willing to exchange your time for. The only currency on this earth is time. And you know one thing about time? It is given in the same measure to every single person. It is not gender biased. It is not racial. It's the same time you have. It doesn't matter which part of the world you are in. It's the same time it is in Nigeria, the same time it is here in the UK, the same 24 hours we have in the US, the same one they have in whatever continent you are in. So whatever you sow, time is so efficient. It's so efficient in such that whatever you put into it, whatever you sow with your time, you will eventually harvest. So at this point in time, when we're taking stock, because before you increase, you need to take stock of where you are. So you identify the areas of development. So at this point in time, when we're taking stock, if you don't like your current harvest, change your seed. What seed are you sowing? You have 24 golden coins every single day. There are only two things you can do with that seed. Number one, nobody can stop time. Time is no respecter of no man. It doesn't matter what, time keeps going. You could either do two things with it. You can either invest time or you waste it. The question there is, your 24 hours, what is the measure of what you're sowing into each of them? I heard Mr. Henry saying things. He went, he had to go all the way to meet John Maxwell. What was he doing? That time he had, he was doing what? He was investing it. He was investing the seed at the time. And look at him now. Now you can see his harvest, but his harvest can be traced back to the seed he planted. If he had not made all that effort to plant and invest his time to do all of that, he wouldn't be harvesting what he's harvesting right now. So you don't like your harvest right now. Don't be angry. Let's stop making excuses. It is the government. It is this thing. It is the part of the world I'm in. It is this. No. What have you truly done with your time in the last 10 years? I use a measure of 10 years because there is a wheel. It takes almost about 10 years. It's called it's a 10 hours. It is the 10,000 hours of principle of mastery. That means for you to master any particular field, the research has been done that it takes a minimum of 10,000 hours for you to reach a state of mastery in any area. So that takes us back an average of 10 years. So in the cycle of every 10 years, what seed were you planting 10 years ago? The funniest thing about seed there is once you plant them, you move on. However, you will reap the harvest at some point in time. So don't look back at last week as, oh, I'm in this place because of what I know. Whatever you're in now, what you enjoy, what you're not enjoying, you planted the seed so long time ago. If you're disciplined with your timing, you're disciplined with what time you wake up, you're disciplined with what you do, eventually the reward will be there. So that is the first requirement, time management. You can't stop it, but you can be very effective and efficient with it. If you can change how you use your time, your network will by default automatically increase. Why am I saying that? If you're conscious of everything you do with time and you're conscious to invest it appropriately, you don't need to do anything else. My favorite book said, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest time will remain. So that means God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you will reap it. So let's go back to time management. He gave us time for a reason. So how have you used the past 10 years? Do you know what the good news there is? Fine, we've all not used it properly. Let's draw a line in the sand and make a decision, a conscious one, and say, well, from right now, I will be conscious about how I invest my time. People will say, oh, let us go and do this. The question is, you ask yourself, why? Is that adding value to my life? Or is that removing value from my life? If you live on mainland and you work on the island and you travel a minimum of 2 to 3 hours every day to work, my question is, what do you do within your travel time? Do you put the seed of investing in your life within that travel time? Do you know if you actually spend those 2 to 3 hours every day times, let's say it's 2 hours, 2 hours times 5, that is 10. So 10 hours a week. Times 4, that is 40 hours in a month. If you times that by 12, that's around 500 and something. Do you know actually if you dedicate just to travel time alone to studying a particular area of life, within 3 to 4 years, you will become an expert in that area, just your travel time alone. There are so many times that, we get, it's because we're not so conscious that each moment we talk, each moment to do things, what is happening? We're investing or we wasted. We're invested. Right now, you've been on this call for well over an hour, going to 2 hours right now. That is a time you cannot get back. But what have you done? You've invested all the principles Mr. Henry taught you right now. You've invested that with the plan of you knowing, understanding, and begin to apply. That is investment of time. That is the first one. Time. What time is it? The second one, which is actually knowledge. And in that one, I'm going to just touch on this 4+1 area quickly. The areas you need to have knowledge in. Number 1 is financial intelligence. Number 2 is emotional intelligence. Number 3, I call it the artificial intelligence. Number 4 is technological intelligence. And to me, number 5, I call it the spiritual intelligence. I call that number 5, I call it my CIA. Because that is where, a lot of us, we call it intuition. We call it, I just know something. Have you ever had a feeling whereby you get into an environment and you just feel something was not right? That is the fifth intelligence talking to you. But because you're not relating to it properly, you've not been able to give it a name. We humans, we are 3-dimensional. We have the body, we have the soul, and we have the spirit. You can't help it. That is, we are 3-dimensional in nature. And you require intelligence for each of those 3 areas. So today, we're not going to spend too much time on the others, but we're actually going to focus on financial intelligence. But in this day and age, you cannot afford to ignore any of the other 3. Emotional intelligence is as important as financial intelligence. How do you handle pressure? Financial intelligence will get into a space. Emotional intelligence will keep you in that space. Technological intelligence is what allows you to maximize the use of available technology. And artificial intelligence, that is actually taking things a whole new level. So it's important for you to seek knowledge in these 4 areas. Why? Because the 4 areas are what you need to take your game from where you are to where you want to be. Have you ever been in a place whereby they'll say, oh, that guy is so intelligent, however, he's so irritating to be around, or that girl? Fine, he's got a high IQ, but when it comes to emotional intelligence, it's quite weak, it's not there. You need both in this day and age you are in. You need both. To me, the most important of all of that for me is the 5th one. Is that my CIA? Because it is what fine-tunes. In the last 10 years, we're in the information age right now, whereby we're stepping into the artificial intelligence age, which we're already in right now, basically. But it's actually not lack of information anymore. It is called information overload. There's practically nothing you're looking for you're not going to find on the internet now. The point there is, how do you tune off and not completely tuned off, but how do you stay tuned in? How do you pick the right information from all the bombardment? I think this is actually my 2nd webinar for today. I've got 2 more to go. There are so many webinars out there. There are free ones, there are paid ones. It's everywhere. It's information overload age right now. It's just bombarding us. How do you pick? Because there's something called analysis paralysis. That is when you have too much information, but you cannot even go anywhere. Because why? You just keep going round in circle. There must be another intelligence that allows you to actually pick the required one out of all of that makes you excel. The information is no longer a competitive edge right now, no. But your ability to convert the information into knowledge and to now channel that all the way through to a period of application, that will be your competitive edge. It won't be what you know, because you're not the first person to know what to find out. But what you do, how you do it, what you know, that is where you can create your niche, which will take you to the next level. One of my favorite mentors, I've been following him for quite a number of years now, Dave Ramsey. He said, personal finance is 80% behavioral and 20% head knowledge. The first day I heard that word, I thought about it, I was like, what is it? What does that mean? I was at a place of, knowledge and information just getting in. But when I began to understand it, I got to this point where I was like, wow, so this is what it means. Do you know, before you do anything at all, it's actually, before you actually speak, the word is already somewhere inside of you. So it is not the lack of, like, how do you become wealthy? Earn money, spend less than you make, invest the remaining, capish. But the question is, how come in the West, about 64% of the working population are just 2 paychecks away from going broke? It is not because this information is not there. It is there, but personal finance, it is not. Economics is talked about finance like human beings are rational, like human beings are robots. We are not. Human beings, we're a mixture of the body, the soul, and the spirit. So we're a mixture of quite a number of things. We're a mixture of the environment we're in, the people we talk to, the information we put in, and most importantly, what will determine you going to the next level is not so much about the knowledge you will have, but it's about how that transforms your behavior, takes you to the next level. And that's why I said knowing is half the battle. My favorite word is know, be, do. We struggle mostly with doing just because we want to jump from knowing to doing. You cannot jump from knowing to doing. Because when you jump from knowing to doing, it doesn't last. It doesn't, you rely so much on willpower, and willpower, we know it's finite, it runs out. That was why it's been proven that most of the habits, the negative ones, they occur at night. Why? People have depended so much on willpower from morning till night, and by the time they get home, they've exhausted all the willpower and decision making to the point whereby people just begin to fall back into the same habit. Why? Because you were doing things from the place of knowing, but not doing things from the place of being. I tell people that if you really understand, there's a difference in knowing the consequences of an action and understanding the consequences of an action. If you understand the consequences of an action, you will think twice before doing it. But because we jump from the place of knowing, oh, if you do this, this happens, tough. If you spend more than you make, it go broke, tough, But when you really understand what that means and how that the implication and the dominoes of taking action. Now, I'm going to start with my favorite one. That's the no. Do you know that the fundamental problem is actually not money at all? Money is an idea. Money is later on in the slides. We just do a quick 1 minute stop shop. In terms of what the story of money. Money is an idea. Money has never been a problem. The greatest invention did not happen just because people had money and they didn't know what to do with money. No. Do you know that if the wealth in the world right now, if they actually distribute the wealth evenly to all the 8-point-something billion of people on earth right now, within 3 to 5 years, 90% of the wealthy people today will end up back with the money. Why? Money has never been the problem. The problem is that core part. The only problem is decision making. An average human makes around 350 decisions every day, starting from the point when you wake up. When you wake up, the first decision is which side of the bed do you come out from? You come out from the side of the bed. What do you do next? What do you wear? You brush your mouth. What are you eating? What do you do? That is why you'd see a lot of all these highly efficient people. They've structured their life so much that's why you see Steve Jobs wears the same shirts. the same color of shirt, why he does not want to exhaust his decision making on frivolous things like that. It's decision, decision, decision. And every decision you make, everyone, it influences and controls the direction of your life. Right from, you're at the junction, should I turn left or right? Which one is quicker? We've seen people that have taken left and something's happened on the right and said, wow, it was what happened on the right. Oh, thank God I didn't take that. And one thing about decision is all decisions are driven. My question there is, what is driving your decision? It was Black Friday yesterday, I think. Yeah. A lot of people would have gone there because you see sales. Seeing sales, does that mean you buy? Ask yourself, every time you've purchased an item, every time you've acted impulsively in terms of what you've actually spent your money, your time to do, you've put that in. Because before an action happens, a decision is already made. And there are three types of decision. There is decision to do, there is decision not to do, and there is a decision not to decide. But whatever the case is, those are the only three decisions we have. Now, every action, everything you've done, what exactly was actually fueling and driving those decisions? Your decision to come onto this platform, what drove you here? Your decision to stay on up until this time, what was driving that decision? Your decision to want to increase your wealth, your net worth in 2022, what is driving that decision? And decision decides destiny, decides success, decides wealth. Earlier on in the slide, I was talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, this is not the first time, he tasted money. Elon Musk was part of the team that actually, designed PayPal. And from the budget of PayPal, from the sale of PayPal, he made about 150 million. There was a decision point in his life at that time whereby most of us, probably including myself, if I get a check for 150 million, wow, that's retirement, going to Montego Bay straight away. But this guy had to decide that, no, there is much more I've got to offer. And he put all the money from there into Starlink and into Tesla. To the point whereby he had nothing left, he had to move into his office. And he was living in his office. Now, what kind of a thing is driving a man like that? $150 million check. And we're all surprised that he's wealthy. Why would he not be wealthy? Because something greater is actually pushing him beyond money. So money is never the problem. And do you know also that the most important determining factor of financial success is your belief? What you believe, who you believe you are, what you believe about money. I know when you're growing up, you ask your parents for money, they tell you the money grows on trees. We've been conditioned, and we've been conditioned, and our money scripts, our money monologue, our money mentality, everything we know about money is something we picked up from when we're growing up. We picked it up from our environment, from what we heard, and everything has become what we believe about it. We believe so much in hard work. But when you come to the West, they believe so much in smart work. If the hardest workers are the richest, trust me, Africa should have been the most wealthy place. So it's all about your belief system. Belief is so strong that it makes an elephant act like a sheep in the presence of a lion. It is the belief of a lion that he is the king of the jungle. And regardless of the size of the other animals, he doesn't care. The most important thing for you to increase your net worth for 2022 is your belief. Do you actually believe you can actually increase your net worth in 2022? Do you believe that? Or is it just mouth service we all make and say, okay, we believe this, I'm going to prosper, I'm going to do this? Because every time your belief system, let me go back there. Every time your belief system is in contrary to your action, there is no progress. That means you're going into a different direction. You believe in this, you're acting like that, you're going to be stationary. Have you ever seen a vehicle that is in gear 1 and then in reverse at the same time and making progress? It will not happen. There has to be an alignment between your belief system and your actions. And when there is no progress, that means there is no alignment. You believe in, you're acting contrary to your belief. When you sleep at night, those gentle voices and whispers that comes into you, what do they tell you? We've established previously that our actions are what decides our life. Our habits are created by our actions. Whatever habits you have, it becomes a habit because you've done it over a period of time. However, our actions, they are initiated by the decisions. Before you do anything, you've already decided, consciously or subconsciously somewhere in you, you've decided you are going to do it. And before you decide about anything, those decisions are driven by your thoughts. You've thought about it. Should I go? Should I not go? Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Should I not do it? Eventually, you go for one of the 3 decisions. But your thoughts, they are the products of your belief. They say there is a vacant position in the organization. It's actually 2 levels above you. Immediately you rule yourself out from your mind and say, no, that one is not for me. I can't get that one. The people that get those positions, they're actually people who know people in the high places. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you do after that point in time, you won't get it. Have you ever wondered, you see some people, things happen for them, and they look like they are less qualified than you are, or they know how to. People, everybody is ordinary. People that take actions becomes extraordinary. Nobody was born special. It is the environment, the belief system that has conditioned. If you read the story of Warren Buffett was born in an environment, in an age whereby all he could turn to was stocks. Bill Gates was born in an environment whereby he had access to computers. So your belief system, your environment, that's why if you have a pair of twins, identical twins, if you raise one of them up in Japan and you raise another one up in America, when you put them together, you will have 2 different individuals. Why? Because our belief system are a composition of our environment and our knowledge. So whatever you think you know now, my question there is, who told you? Who taught you? And this takes us to the next slide as well. This is what I called, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me click back. This is what I call a quick detour. Do you know that when we talk about money quickly here, we act as if our money is just an Excel sheet whereby, you enter information, you save it, you close it, and you leave it. And the next time you go there, it is exactly the same way it was before, when you saved it. Your money is not like that. Your money is your life. Why? Because it takes your life. You've traded your life for your money, but your life is not your money. Every decision you've made, positively or negatively, is contributed to. And our life at the moment now, it's a mass of habits. We never decide our future. No, we don't. What we simply do is we decide our habits. Then our habits decides our future. Anthony Trollope said, a small daily habit, a small daily task, if it be truly daily, says it will beat the labor of a spasmodic Hercules. What is it telling you? Consistency. Have you ever been to places whereby you would see a rock has a small hole because over a decade of years there's been droplets of water on that particular spot, and after a while, after many years, it makes a hole? That is what my favorite book said. It said a soft tongue can break a bone. consistency, your habits. We worry so much about our life and we neglect the habits we created. And our habits are linked to our time management system, because it is the time that you fuel into a particular activities that becomes a habit. So we're talking about money here. Let's just quickly, why I want to do this just because of what I want to show. Right here, you could see what you're seeing here is actually a condensed history of money. You could see trade by barter. After a while, you can see where gold, medium of exchange. After a while, we started using paper. We started using CDs. After a while, we printed notes, we printed coins. From there, what happens? We had computers. From there, one thing that's happening there is you can see that from the time they started with barter, went to gold. After from gold, they started using notes because people cannot start carrying money about. That is where fractional banking came in, whereby you put your gold there, they give you a piece of paper, you have this gold with us, that's a piece of paper. You now take that piece of paper to go and trade elsewhere. That was the genesis of all the story related to money. And this have to do with the age, and each age and its particular dispensation. There's been about 4 or 5 major key dispensations. And we had the agricultural, we had the industrial age, then we had we had when steam came out, then we had the technology, which is the one we're actually in right now. And between the industrial age and the what's it called, the other one, we had about a couple of sub dispensation in between there. Every dispensation has decided and has filled the role money plays in them. During trade by barter, nobody really cared about any particular number. What I had there is, I've got fish, you've got meat, take and take. I've got shirts, you've got shoes, we exchange. Then we grew as humans. We started being efficient. We discovered gold and mineral. Then we got to a point where I realized that if I've got a ton of gold, I can't carry it everywhere. Okay, the goldsmith is there. I drop my gold with the goldsmith. It gives me a piece of paper. Slowly, we went, just by the time we got into the idea of currency, because money and currency are different things. The paper is what denotes the money. The value is different from the currency we see. So when we had the attachment to currency, we had the attachment to gold, the coins, we had the notes. Then after that, it went to what? The checkbook. And after that, just at the birth of technology, slowly our money stopped being what we can see. They replaced that with the plastic. We all started carrying plastic about. Then after a while, we said, okay, we can actually pay. And you put your card into a machine, you put your PIN number, pum, pum, pum. After a while, technology made, they said, you know what, you don't actually need to put your PIN number there anymore. Just scan, contactless. Internet banking came. Mobile banking came. Then before you know it, all the wearables. And then the next age that's already here, which is an evolution, is the digital economy, the artificial intelligence. Now, if you don't understand the role money plays in each of those dispensations, you will not be able to effectively invest properly in the current age we have. Do you know that within the space of 9 months, what took Warren Buffett 79 years to acquire, it took Elon Musk just 9 months to acquire the same level of wealth that took Warren Buffett 79 years to acquire. Why? We're in a different age. Investment is changing, money is changing, environment is changing. Do you actually know that what we know as work is changing? COVID did not change the world. What COVID did was, all of this thing was going to happen eventually. It was only a matter of time. What COVID did was, what COVID pulled 5 years closer. And all of a sudden, Zoom has been there before COVID happened, but we don't really use it. But all of a sudden, it's now mandatory that, you know what, we all start learning from home. Now, working from home, that was a luxury, now became standard. The role of work is changing. As all that is changing, the relationship with money changes at the same time. In every dispensation is actually changed and transformed the nature of money. That's why I said money likes mobility and speed. If you understand that concept about money, Then when they're talking about money, when people talk about money and say, oh, I'm not going to pack one money here. We pack money there. Inflation has already eroded the money away. Inflation is one of the highest we've seen in a very long time. Even in UK here, inflation went as high as 3%, 4% actually. In America, it's 6%. In Nigeria, I think it's about officially 17 or 16%. So that means for you to break even, an investment must return the minimum what inflation is giving you on top of that. So when you understand that concept about money, when you're thinking of, I need to increase my net worth, then you begin to think of, I'm not thinking of now. You think of things that are in the future. Now, this is now the next phase. You know the knowledge, you know what to do. Now understanding. I like to use this word. I said, understanding is under what knowledge are you standing? That means whatever you're doing now, under what knowledge, and everything you know and you believe now is a knowledge that you got it from somewhere, either from a book, from somebody, by watching people, because we were all born as a blank canvas. But that knowledge you have, is that still valid? That's the problem we have in the educational system. The educational system we have was very good for what? For the industrial age. That is why you can go to school for 4 or 5 years, 4 years and come back, and then you do that. But this time, by the time you finish your degree in school, whatever course or coding or programming language you went to learn for 4 years is outdated. So that knowledge you have, is it still valid? Is it a fact, or was it a fact or truth? Fact changes. I remember when I was growing up, I used to say this a lot. Pluto was a planet. So the other day I was talking to my daughters, and they were naming planets. I said, I know planets. I know when I go to Pluto, I said Pluto. They told me, they said, now Pluto is no longer a planet. I was like, okay, Knowledge is a moving target. That was a fact. It's not a truth. So whatever understanding you have now, under what knowledge are you currently standing? Could that be the reason why you're not making progress as you should be? Because the most dangerous thing is believing in a lie. You can remember back then when internet banking was going to come, and a lot of people were so reluctant to do internet banking. No, the fraudster will steal my money. This will happen. That will happen. That. Can you notice that now everybody, all of us, we just seems to be comfortable with actually not going to the bank if we don't have to? And those beliefs were beliefs that were passed down from some people because of some experiences. Never let past experiences stop you from acquiring new knowledge. That's why for you to remain relevant, you have to learn, you have to unlearn, and you have to relearn. That's how you remain relevant. Let me quickly double up. Now we get into the application bit. This is why I love to talk about smart versus intelligence. A lot of us are very intelligent, but very few of us are very smart. Right? You can be intelligent and without being smart, but you can never be smart without being intelligent. Intelligence is the understanding. Do you know some people that they tell you that I've read this, I've read that? When you talk about a book that changed your life, they will tell you, I've read that book like 50 times. And you look at them and say, okay. Because you can see that if you read that book that many of times, it should have an impact in your life. Intelligence is your understanding, and it's about your ability to reason. But being smart is, I call it, it's the practical ability for you to deploy the intelligence you've acquired. I think my time is running up, so let me be very, 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 very quick with this. Okay, so now in terms of application, let's go back a step. Now, this is one of the favorite things I like to talk about. Make, manage, and multiply. Number one, make, that's playing the offensive. How effective are you about making money? According to Robert Kiyosaki in his cash flow quadrants, which of the quadrants are you working in? Let me tell you something. You can actually function in all the 4 quadrants. As I'm talking to you today, I'm an employer, I'm an employee, I'm a business owner, and I'm also an investor. It's very, very possible. When you hear business owner, all of us, the thinking we have is, you must have one head office somewhere, you must have one distinct. No, those are whole beliefs that they don't hold water anymore. It is about the productivity, not about the location. It's about the processes and systems rather than the location of where you are. To me, making money is plain offensive. Managing money is what balances the both. Is what makes sure that your income and your expenditure make sure that one is lower than the other. Whenever expenses is lower than the income, you know that is debt, that's trouble. When you push it back down, then it balances the boat. Because you cannot multiply without proper management. You cannot invest if there are no excesses from what you make. And then we go to multiplication. Can I ask the host, do I still have some time? I've got one or two more slides. Or do you want me to stop? I think the time slot I'm given, I've already gone past that.
Mayowa, I think you can finish your slide.
Yes.
Okay.
We really want you to touch a bit on the technology, you know, job security and all of that. Quite a number of us have this perception of jobs are secured. What's the future of job leads to money?
Thank you very much. I'm actually going to drive straight into that. There are no job securities anywhere. Why am I saying that? We're currently what I call the artificial intelligence age, whereby robots are replacing humans. I'll give you an example. The day in the United Kingdom already, they've already built into the law now, whereby when driverless cars comes in, there are insurance companies that are already actually parts of when they cover your insurance process already there. The world is ready for driverless cars. It is not because technology is not there. No, it is legislation that is holding driverless cars back. Within the next 3 to 5 years, we will have driverless cars. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of when, not if. If that happens, I can tell you almost 90% of Uber drivers in the West will go out of business. When that happens, where do you want this current workforce to go to? And because it's cheaper to run driverless cars, it's more efficient, and probably it's actually safer because human beings are prone to error fewer times than machines are. Look at the roles we have. Look at the question I want us to ask ourselves there is, what I'm currently doing now, will my job be available in the next 5 years? One example there is into accounting. There are softwares right now that can do your accounting and do all the filing and do all the reporting and do the submission to the government without you participating in anything. What is that telling you? If you just went to school to study accountancy or business administration for 4 years and you come back, you become redundant. We are having robotic surgery. So it's a matter of you now saying, okay, let me take a breather. What I'm doing right now, will I be required in 5 years? Please don't look at the next 1 year because it's not going to happen in the next 1 year. It's the role you are in right now. Will you be relevant in the next 5 years? If I know what I'm doing right now, I will be easily replaceable in the next 5 years. The next thing I want to do there is then you upgrade yourself. The future is more about data. It's more about programming. It's more about developers. It's more about the digital currencies. Blockchain is the future. I was going to get into that, but I'll just start right now. The future of technologies and blockchain. And it's not the future that is going to be next year. So, the future is already here. And I know quite a number of us on here, we are either participating directly or indirectly. But what are we using blockchain for? We're only using one part of it. We're only using the cryptocurrency to make money. But we've forgotten that blockchain will change the fundamentals of it's going to rewrite the architecture of the whole of technology as a whole. We're going to have once you have driverless cars, you have driverless trucks, you're going to have logistics is going to be taken over by computers completely. And there's this film, what's it called? The Terminator. If you watch The Terminator, the last one, it's like when they wrote the film, strip out all the negative parts of machine shooting out people, things like, no. What they're trying to tell you there is an age whereby robotics will do will do If you're a waitress and you know you're very good at being a waitress, you will soon be replaced because it's easier for people to go into a restaurant and there's a robot waiting there. The virtual world is happening. Metaverse, ask yourself, why would a company like Facebook all of a sudden decide they want to go into virtual reality? It is not because they just thought about that overnight. They've actually been thinking about this for the last 7 years, but because when COVID happened, and what COVID did was COVID sped up the rate of things. And before you know it, Microsoft jumped out immediately and said, yep, they are already doing that. The metaverse is going to be a place whereby you actually work in the metaverse. You sit down in your house, put on your whatever device you want to do, and you are in a work environment in a virtual reality world. And this did not just come now. Do you remember all the faces of when they were doing 3D cinema experience and all of those things, video games and all of that were laying the building blocks for metaverse. So this thing is going to be an evolution, not a revolution. Revolution takes time for you to get there. Evolution is what happens. It catches you unaware. And I can see a lot of us, we are sleepwalking into this. We're seeing cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is just one aspect of blockchain technology. And by the time the big powers that may be finished fighting this technology, they cannot stop because the genie is already out of the bottle. By the time they realize that they cannot stop it, you can see America already put the legislation around it, said they should start reporting. After a while, people will get over that, people will start doing their firing, and people will continue. The future is here. It's you now being able to, you have the knowledge to know, okay, medicine and research is going for the future. Take time to pick those 5 areas you know. One thing is not going to change. Logistics, people will always move from A to B. If people don't move from A to B, we need to move from A to B. Some people will still need to service the needs. If there are robotics, whenever a robot breaks down somewhere, something needs to fix it. What parts will they need? What software programming will they need? They need data analysis. They need data scientists. Those are the roles of the future. So before you decide on what you're going into, fine, you like business administration, fine, I know that. But will that put food on your table in the future? Would that make you redundant or valuable in the next 5 years? So it's about you identifying the gaps. Now, they said they just found another strain of COVID in, is it South Africa or something? What is the world doing now? The world is getting used to living with COVID. So that means in terms of healthcare, that area is still going to be relevant for the next 5 to 10 years. We all become more conscious of our health because of why? Because of what COVID did. So those are the areas we want to look into. And if you cannot directly be involved, make sure your money is directly working for you in those fields. And please have a plan B, plan C, plan D, and plan E. I won't be able to finish my slide. I think I've got about 5 more. So probably I'll open the floor for questions so I can actually answer the question by picking on things in the slides to come.
Oh my goodness, I'm beyond words, sir. I'm beyond words. Like, please, guys, let me see your appreciation in the chat. First of all, let's start from there and let me see your questions start rolling in right away. Wow, thank you so much, sir, for the bundle of knowledge you have shared. So much to learn, so much to unlearn, and so much to relearn today. I'm sure that even after this session, we're all going to go back, sit down with the notes, and start taking deliberate steps towards the things you have said. This is a very good time, everyone, to start putting your questions in the chat right away. So, sir, you've said a lot of things, and I just want to, while we're waiting for others to put their questions out in the chat, I just want to take you up on some of that. Now, you've shared so much, and one of the things I want to pick from what you've said is that the power of belief system in all of this. What is our belief about money? Now, I want you to personally share some of the belief system or some of the principles you personally have used in your own life that has worked for you in increasing your net worth. I believe that will help a lot of us in taking practical steps because we've heard so much. And like you've said, it's not just about amassing knowledge. It's about putting it into action. It's about becoming, and it is about doing. So please share with us some of the principles and personal belief system you have used in your own life over the last few years that has worked for you as an expert in this field.
Thank you very much. Okay, let me pick one. One of the belief systems that I believe held me back in the past is there is this mentality we have about rich people, like they are unique being, like God pre-selected some people in heaven and said, you'll be rich, the rest you'll be poor. And then when we see them as they are special beings. Especially, when people see rich people in Africa, then you used to believe like the first thing is think, wow, they must come from a rich home. This must be this. And automatically you rule yourself out. And when I got to the West, one of the first things I noticed there was, man, it is not possible for a Black man to succeed in the West. That, it is not possible. No. The West is not. And those were so everything I was doing, I was working so hard, but that self-belief was sabotaging every action I was taking. It's those things. One thing about them is, we make this proclamation, we speak, I'm blessed, I'm doing this, but there is a point I want everyone to pay attention to. When you put your head down on a pillow to sleep at night, when you are not putting up a show for nobody, when it's just between your two ears, what are the words that are coming to your mind? If I say right now that how many of us wants to be multimillionaires next year, everybody will say yes. The true question there is, do you believe it? And the honest truth is, for so many years, I never believed I could be wealthy. I knew I would be okay. Because there are stages. There is a stage of being okay, just over broke, which is job, J-O-B, having a little bit extra, and then living at a point whereby you're successful. I've never met or read, because I read a lot. I think I've read about 500 books in my lifetime. I read a lot. I've never read a book of somebody who have succeeded, who did not believe they can. That is why you see a lot of millionaires. They make millions, they go broke, but they come back again. They bounce back. Why?
Yes.
There's something. It's not money. It's not like one thing I see there is the first thing I had to break down there is money is never the problem. It is not about money. Money is an end product. That is one thing. And the problem we have is we keep chasing money. Why would you chase a result? Forget about money. See, money is an idea. It's a concept. Some people came together. The world system we have right now, if you read this book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, the financial system in the world right now, it was a group of men that went on an island and they came back and they gave us the financial system we have right now. It's an idea of somebody. So forget about money. Money is not the issue. The issue starts with, do you really believe yourself that you are meant to prosper? If you don't, there are something they call some self-sabotaging things whereby, that's why you see some people, they're so close to it, they just do something stupid because they don't feel worthy. You have to feel, it's not something it's not motivation whereby you go to a session, you feel pumped up, and no, it has to be a belief where you know that even if everybody would make it, I will. And not until you get to that point. And when I got to that point, I told myself, I said, I will never lack again. Between the time I made that decision and now, I had to go through a lot of things. But the first thing was breaking down the mindset. Yes, it's possible. I will make it in the West. Why not? Yes, it is possible. And the moment I work so hard on those things, and one thing which we all want to do, but you've got to do the work with it. You wake up every day, you got to do the work with it. You wake up, you tell yourself what you want to know, and you believe so much that I will prosper without a shadow of a doubt. See, all these things are saying, okay, there is Farming has been happening since days of Abraham. We make farming to be like farming is a new idea. It's not a new idea. Let's stop this killing ourselves. Inflation has been there since the day. It didn't just start now. It has day, like one of my friends used to say. So why are we making things that have been in system like they're not something new? It's nothing new under the heavens. Farming didn't just start. Your environment you are in might be hard, but it does not matter the state of the jungle. A lion will never eat grass. Not until the day you see yourself as a lion. There's some things you say, no, it won't happen to me. But why? Because whatever life deals us, we take it like that. So people don't. Why must it be you? If people are going to be broke, why is it going to be you? So that is what has worked for me, and I refuse it. Even in my words, I don't use joking. Words are powerful. And this is one that I want to quickly to pass it up. Words are so powerful because anything that has a name can hear. I'm going to the spiritual side of things now. If it has a name, it can hear you. Anything that goes by a name can hear you. So be careful don't let us use loose words. Some people, want small stress will come like this, they'll start saying, they are life, it is not me. I won't be caught using that because words don't die. What happens to words are overridden by other words. We have spoken some words in our life to the point when it's time for us to succeed, those words will say, come and stand and say, you. Remember 5 years ago when you say you can't make this? Let me quickly give you an example in the Bible. You know, what's it called? Is it Rachel? Went to her husband. She said, give me children, else I die. She didn't say, give me a child, children. She had the first one, she did not die. But when it was going to become children, she died. Why? She spoke the word out of anger, but the word never died. The word is there. So in the day she was going to go from child to children, she died because of the word. Not change that word. So let's be conscious. That's why I said we humans, we are three-dimensional. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you take. You are a body, a soul, and a spirit. That's why I have the 5 intelligence, spiritual intelligence. That is why you'd see people in the West, they've said they meditate, they do yoga, they do things like this. What are they doing? They are connecting to their spiritual side. And that is what is worked for me, man. Thank you.
Wow. I can see so many wows in the chat. Wow, sir. You just broke so many tables. Belief is powerful. And your words, like we've heard Mr. Mayowa say, our words are powerful. Why must it be you? Why must it be me? Our words are powerful. Please, let's run with these things we're hearing. Now, there's a question in the chat. Sorry, sir, I would have to alternate between you and Mr. Henry. Please permit me. There's a question in the chat for Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry, I hope you're still here with us. There's a question for you.
I'm here, live and
okay.
direct.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
Mayowa, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayowa has just given it to us hot. In fact, we have so much to go back and think about. Itsunojika is asking, she said, you said we need to know ourselves. That can actually be hard sometimes when you feel confused and stuck. Could you help with questions we can ask to help figure out who we are and what we are good at? Mr. Henry, that is for you, please.
Okay, so the first question I will ask is, what makes you sing? What makes you happy? What makes you joyful? So it starts from there. And the honest truth is, different generations, different mentalities, different orientations, the way our parents brought us up. When your father comes back from work, it's time to disappear. But right now, the way parents are with children, they are closer to their children. Sure, the fathers are even closer than the mothers. So different generations, different things, and different ways to handle things. So you need to start asking yourself some in-depth questions. Who am I? How do I respond to situations? What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? those are the questions on the path to you validating and now agreeing on what path you will take. And that's why I said that you must set expectations for yourself, not living for other people. It took us a while to understand this. And by the time you understand, you find out that you live a more fulfilled life. So I don't know if that's answered her question.
Yes, sir. Itsunujika, I hope that has answered your question. Thank you so much, sir. You must find what resonates with you. So I want to ask, okay, so I'm coming back to Mr. Mayowa. If you have questions, please put it in the chat. We have just a few minutes before we wrap up tonight. Please ask those questions now. Now, sir, based on the 5 different intelligences you've talked about, which you have said we must put to actions, we must find connecting points between these different intelligences and get them. How do we prepare ourselves? How do we position, seeing how fast the world is moving, seeing how fast artificial intelligence is taking over a lot of things? How would you advise that we position ourselves for the opportunities that will be presenting itself to us in 2022 as youths, as young men, as young women working in different sectors who don't want to fake it till we make it, but we want to really enter into world-class relevance, creating a difference and making an impact in our different spheres?
Thank you, Ma. The first thing I'll say there is, and everyone asking that question is already doing the right thing. Number one is your network. Who are you running with? If you really want to know who you are, it's very easy. Look at who you're running with. You will never see an eagle running with chickens. Anytime an eagle runs into another animal, an eagle automatically knows that's an eagle, because the altitude eagles fly, no other animal dare fly at that altitude. Change your circle of friends. See, friends are good, but when it comes to destiny, locate destiny connectors. Locate destiny relationship. Find places where your time is being invested. Not people who would say, oh, I'm coming to see you, and they come to your house, and for 6 good hours, you cannot give account of the quality of the relationship. It's been proven scientifically that within 3 to 5 years, you become an average of the 5 to 6 closest people to your life. And I'm telling everyone here, do a mental calculation. Who are the 5 closest people to your life? And even to the point of your size. Why we gravitate towards an area we feel comfortable. So the first thing there is forget comfort. See, your emotions is very, very unstable. Don't rely on it. It's not something you rely on. I feel I know. You have to, I call it intentional living. We need to stop this anyhowness we've been living. Intentionality is the next stage. See, if you like it or not, the future is here. It's either you jump on the bus and you run at the speed it's running, or you're going to get left behind. I'm going to use an example. A nation in the world decided to ban cryptocurrency, but that same nation now has what? Digital currency. They've rolled out. Can you tell me, on which platform did they build the digital currency? Is it not on blockchain? So don't let even right now, we're in a world whereby it's called decentralization. Even governments are losing their hold on people. The world is becoming a global village. Find the crew. Find people. If you're the smartest person in your group, you're in trouble. Why? You're not learning.
Yes.
You're in, you're the smartest. That means you're in trouble. Why? Because you can't learn. Make sure you put yourself. I'm not telling you to force yourself on things, but pull yourself. You know, growth happens when you stretch. One of my favorite pastors used to say something. He said, if you jump up, what happens? You come down. But when you grow up, you stay at that height. It's time for aggressive growth. Write down, what do I want to have in the next 12 months? Areas of development. Clearly articulate them. Now, you would have to now seek for people, because success leaves clues. You don't want someone preaching to you about money and they're broke. Forget it. That's why you have so many broke professors who teach finance. You have to, Mr. Henry said something. You have to invest in yourself. You will come to a point, the only asset you will have is you. Do you know that a couple of days ago, a plot of land was sold for $2.4 million. But you know that land is actually a virtual land. It's a land on the metaverse. If they're already selling a plot of land for 2.4 million virtual reality world, don't you see that most of us are left behind already? The future will now come. They will not tell you that, okay, your company has now got a space in the virtual world, and your company will now say to employ you, we'll be taking some money out of your income to pay for the rental for the virtual space we'll be working. You've got to get to be in the right circle. Identify people who are where you want to be, not people acting on IG like they are there. No. How many books do you read in a year? I've never met, when I say meet, I'm talking in terms of reading, studying about them, a successful person who is not an avid reader. There's this saying, they say, if you want to write something from a black man, put it in a book.
It's in a book.
How many books did you read this year, 2021? If there's anyone here who's read more than 10 books, I give you a standing ovation. How long does it take to read a book? Space yourself. There are irrelevant things we do that is wasting our life, and whatever you slay in your 30s, your 20s and 30s, you will eat in your 50s. Be careful what you slay. So that is the way to go about it. See your futures, because nobody's going to take care of you in the future. Trust me, if you think your children are your retirement plan, you're missing it. Who is going to take care of your future? There is no conspiracy to prosper you anywhere. No government, even in the West that I'm in now, nobody is sitting down somewhere and thinking, how can we make Mayowa's life better? How can we make Olusoji? No. Take your destiny by your own hands, regardless. And thank God for technology. You can leverage on technology that breaks through boundaries of countries. You can be studying a course in America and you're there in Lagos. You can apply. There's somebody I know as of yesterday, got a job in the UK and they're there in Nigeria. So don't give me excuses. It's not possible. It's happening around you. Wake up. That's what I'll say, man. Thank you very much.
Wow, wake up. Wake up. Take your death. No one is gonna take care of your future. You have to do it yourself. We have to do it ourselves. Wake up. Wow. That is so much charge, sir. Are you still on your seat? In fact, I've been shifting on my seats. But this is not a shifting matter. It's a matter of doing something, taking actions now. No one will take care of your future for you. Now, as we wrap up, I just want to direct this. We've talked so much about network and building our network. Now, I want to direct this question to Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry, please, I'm bringing you back. Now, we've talked about building our network and building the right communities. It's easy. Now, in the current world now, yes, people still go around with cards, trying to distribute cards. But I want to see that the world has gone beyond that. It's about relevance, creating value, like you talked about, and Mr. Mayowa also talked about. How do we incorporate ourselves into the right communities? First of all, how do you even identify the right community for you? You said your network determines your network. How do you discover the right fit for you? As somebody working in the health sector, how do you start to discover that? And how do you start to connect yourself in such a way that you are relevant? They don't just see you as another pest trying to hang yourself to somebody. It's not about going to introduce yourself and say, I want your help. How do you make yourself relevant? That's one part. And what if you are an introvert? Let's talk about an introvert, somebody that is not out there, that cannot easily walk up to anybody and say, oh, I am this person. You talked about you being the person, the happening man of the game, you make things happen. Not everyone here is like that. Some people can barely even introduce themselves to somebody they meet. How do we go about breaking this kind of situation? Please, I want you to address that, because we have a lot of youth here. We have a lot of people here, aspiring youth, people who really want to be relevant in 2022, who want to build their network and who want their network to increase, their net worth to increase.
Okay, so thank you very much, Bunmi. So first of all, I'll say something, and Mayowa also spoke about it. Your first step is that you need to read. And that's why I used the classical example. I used Patrick Lee. He's actually an introvert till date, but he has written some books. So first book that I recommend people to read is Business Networking as an Introvert. He wrote that book. And the honest truth is, if you do not read, you will not become exposed. That is one. Two, you need to identify the field that you want to go into. And that takes research. I spoke about it. So if you want to play football, where do you start from? You need to research. And thank God that the world is a global village. There's nothing that you want that you will not find. And the honest truth is that people that have this information, if you ask them for it, they will give it to you. But most times people do not use it. Like I spoke about a template, email template, that if you send to anybody, the person will answer you. Already someone has asked for it. But honest truth, there's so much information out there. And these people actually want to help if you come in contact with them, but we do not ask for it. So one, research. Two, read more. And you find out that you get all the answers to your problems. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. So research. We cannot stop researching. We must have a voracious appetite for knowledge. See, we heard Mr. Henry saying he has read 11 books, and I could see people shouting in the chat room, like 11 books. We must begin to grow our appetite for knowledge. Like, we cannot overemphasize that. We've heard that again and again and again. Somebody is saying, please permit me to read from the chat right now before we call it a night. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to really appreciate and celebrate our audience. You are doing so well. Thank you so much for staying with us. Okay, someone said, who is this? Olusoji. Okay, Olusoji says, brilliant presentation, Mr. Mayowa and Mr. Henry. However, I would like to add that although the world is becoming gradually revolutionized by digital currencies, blockchain technology, however, the world of digital currency is not meant for everyone, but for those who are willing and able to take risk and do a lot of research, as there are lots of scammers and fraudsters out there. Patience, accruing knowledge, and taking sensible risks are the three core ingredients to making it in the crypto or digital currency world. Thank you. Brilliant show, Madam Moderator. Wow. I don't know if you want to say anything to that, Mr. Mayowa. You are the financial expert here. I'm sure you have one or two things to say to that.
Thank you very much, the person that wrote that. Thank you. You're right about it. If you note, I said something. Cryptocurrency is just one facet of blockchain technology. Don't let us want to understand blockchain technology because we want to make money. Fine, let us use that avenue to prosper. However, it is important we understand the role blockchain technology will play in the infrastructure of the future. The role Web 3.0 will play. The role the metaverse and virtual reality will play. It's important for us to understand those fundamentals. I'm not even focusing on crypto. Crypto is just like, you know, when you have gold and they mine gold and they now say they've got some residue of gold and then they now get silver. No, the real deal is understanding the role of blockchain technology and how that will impact you as a consumer, as a producer, as a living being on earth, and how that would change the world we have. That means seek knowledge. Don't be in this box and say, that thing is too complicated. Yeah, it's complicated, but if you go to YouTube, if you put blockchain for beginners, by the time you watch 5, 7, 10 videos to start, there are some amazing one that breaks blockchain down to sizable chunk of information. Don't seek to be an expert overnight. No. How do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time. How do you build a castle? A brick at a time. Just take it one step after the other. Make sure you understand the foundation, and the foundation of cryptocurrency and all of that lies within blockchain technology. Thank you.
Whoa, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. We need to bring it to a close. We need to start tying all the loose ahead. So I actually heard you were going to speak to that introvert part, building your network as an introvert.
Was I going to speak to that? I think Mr.
Yes. I think we want you to speak to that, sir.
Actually, yeah, I would just add to what Mr. Henry said is, it's easy for us to quickly box ourselves up and say, me, I'm an introvert, or me, I'm an extrovert. First question is, who told you that?
Oh wow.
Do you know yourself well enough, or is it as a result of what people, do you know, because people are an introvert does not mean they do not speak. You can be in a stadium and feel lonely, and you can be in a house with 5 people and come alive. Introversion, there is no perfect introvert at all. All these are tests that are put together and they box you. And when they box you, we have different personalities. Some of us, we don't really like talking much. Some of us, we are the life of the party. But there's a book called, I think it's called Silence, thereabout. Some people, because they don't talk in public does not mean they don't talk. Put them in the right environment, on the right topic, with the right. Have you met people whereby you see them in a different environment and say, whoa, so you talk? And have you met people whereby you see them talking and so you can be quiet? Humans are designed to see, this brain is a learning machine. It keeps learning, it never stops learning till we die. So whatever thing you think you are, ask yourself, is that a fact or a truth? I'm an introvert by who? By a test you took online and they were telling you to take multiple questions and you take yes. And at the end of the day, the result comes out and say, yes, introvert. And you now say, are you shy because you're not comfortable in the environment, or you're not comfortable in the topic they're talking about, or because of fear? Have you seen some people that when they are broke, they're very calm, but when they have small change like this, you see their true color? That means, do you really know yourself as an introvert? And what makes you think you are that? And introversion has got nothing to do with human relationship. Network is all about human relationship. That is what it's all about. Once you see it as human relationship, I come here and meet Mr. Henry. It's treating people the way you want to be treated. Hi, Mr. Henry, it's good to meet you. That was an awesome session. We can all do that. That is called growth. There's a difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset.
Growth mindset, yes, sir.
Do it. Growth mindset is about you knowing that, okay, this area I used to work on it. That we work well on that. A lot of us, because of something that happened in primary school, we just say, no, I'm not letting this belief go. I don't talk. No. That means it's called fixed mindset. Growth mindset is, I'm not very good at speaking. Then begin to read books about speaking. Practice it. They are skills. Practice your skill set. My favorite book said, if an axe is dull, much effort is required. That means in an area you're not good at, but He said, with skills, success comes easily. There are some things for you to succeed, you must learn and acquire. Me, I don't talk is not one of them. Yeah, me, I don't talk is one of them. That word me is selfish. Everywhere there is an I, there is selfishness there. You are here to serve people. I'm not saying gallivant about and be jumping about. There are times you do things that pushes you out of your zone because you want to grow. And that is all I would say. Ask yourself, who told you what? And who told you one is better than the other? Who told you melancholy is better than, who told you a particular temperament is better than the other? Who told you that? We've seen successful people who are what they've been boxed as extrovert and vice versa. So forget those are part of beliefs.
Beliefs.
Their belief system is been ingrained into us. You'll be shocked that many presenters on TV are actually very quiet outside their role of work. So that's all I want to add to what Mr. Henry said. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. In fact, I could go on and on. See me, I'm just glued to this screen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayowa. Thank you, Mr. Henry. We've seen raw value. I just want to leave us with this statement and then we would round up for the night. Thank you so much. Yes, Alex said, who told you that? I'm keeping this. I'm also keeping it. Let me leave you with this. Mr. Mayowa said, he says, everybody is ordinary, but people who take action becomes extraordinary. So much said tonight, so much to learn tonight, so much to learn and so much to relearn. What actions would you be taking? Thank you so much, everyone. We've had an amazing time with you, Mr. Mayowa. We've had an amazing time with you, Mr. Henry. Thank you. We appreciate you. And I want to say, God bless you. Thank you so much. You've given us so much. And to my audience, to our audience, thank you so much for staying back tonight. I'm sure you've gotten so much value. Please permit me to invite Coach Itunu to the platform right away as she closes us out for the night. Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate you. Coach, over to you. Oh, goodness.
Thank you so much, everybody. Has been amazing. I was looking at the chat room and I saw people glued in. So when I say my brother, Mayowa wanted to give me a little bit of tachycardia, but thank you so much, Mayowa. Thank you so much, Henry. I'm proudly associated. And this is like practical. You know, people look at me and they go like, you know, how do you get your energy? I say, you've not seen my network now. You've seen 11 books in 1 month. And you can't just even try. During COVID, I was feeling myself. I think I'd read like 2 books. I now like called him up for one of the days and I was like, so this COVID now we are learning. He said, yes, I'll finish 5 books. I just respected myself and I kept quiet. I was struggling with 2 books. And Mayowa is just an amazing, amazing person. You know, earlier this month, I was telling him that, Mayowa, I prayed you into my life. Because this year, I told God I needed quality network. And Mayowa has just been beyond amazing. He still has 2 webinars today. It came from one, entered this one, you've seen the level of energy. And if you are following him, this energy does not reduce. Mayowa, cut me soap now. What do you use? How do you keep this energy up? Cut me soap. To the entire Reed family, I can't begin to call names. Professor Ogaji, thank you so much, sir. We honor you. You're always here. I can see Daniela, I can see David. I'm sure everybody had fun. And we'll be having our last webinar, 18th of December. The details will be out, and on the webinar, I'll be speaking alongside with one of my coaches. It's a privilege for me to be sharing the same platform with one of my coaches, and believe me, you don't want to. Better so day here, but Alex and I go way back. I don't want to take our time. Thank you so very much, everybody. And as we say at Reed, meet you at the top. I'm sure we've broken some limiting beliefs, as in they were just scattering tables. As Henry was breaking the table, Mayowa came in. I said, table does not exist again now. He just used broom and swept away the debris of the table that Henry had broken. We want to say thank you very much. Can we all unmute our mics and say thank you as we go to...
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you, sir.
Thank you all for attending. Please
Thank
stay
you
safe.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you
very much. Have a nice weekend. Henry, I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you. Thank you.